Pieter, thank you so much for your time. When you look at the period that was, what would you say underpins this performance that you've brought forward to the market?
Yeah, incredible performance by Team Shoprite. Ordinary people delivering the extraordinary is what I can say. In conditions where there definitely have been no tailwinds from economic point of view or the macro environment. So that, for me, makes it an even better performance than what the final numbers suggest. We all know about the excuses. We're not good at making excuses, but it's now well publicized, the diesel bill that we had to foot worth 1.3 billion. It's just a pity that that couldn't go as part of the result of the shareholders' performance.
We all know that the consumer is under considerable distress, especially from a spending perspective. Given the data that you have at your disposal, what trends are you picking up here from a sales growth point of view?
Firstly, is that customers are looking for value. There's no question, more so than ever before. In the last 2 years, we've seen an increase in the promotional item participation in the basket by over 5%. So definitely customers are looking for better value. They're buying different pack sizes in order to make their less flexible budgets work. We must also take into consideration that people with a constrained budget doesn't have the flexibility to buy more items or to absorb the inflation. And the worst of this is that the poorest of us all get affected most. The inflation at the lower end of the market is higher than at the higher end of the market, but less discretion available at that end of the market. Simply put, a 350 Rand grant stays 350 Rand. So it means for you to, in an inflation environment, to come out with that money, you have to buy less items.
When it comes to your private label strategy, how are you viewing private labels versus the rest of the market?
Yes, so we've moved or increased the participation of that over the last 5-6 years from 13% to 21% now. Percentages is deceiving. I want to just make a quick sum here. The total revenue of the group was 215 billion, and 21% of that is equal to 45 billion Rand. So that's what the value of the private label business or revenue is in the Shoprite group. And we see that the growth in that market is just under 20%. In the South African context, where the supermarkets grew by 17.8%. So it's clear that customers are buying more into the private labels, looking for value. That's very clear. Also in the participation I've mentioned earlier.
With that said, how are you viewing your price investment strategy? I mean, I know there's a lot that goes into gross margin, but how are you thinking about it?
We certainly had to absorb some of this inflation on behalf of the consumer. There's no way that the current cost pressures can be passed on to the consumer only. So we are very proud to say that the Shoprite Group in the South African context this year have given instant cash savings at checkout to consumers worth 13.5 billion Rand. And I would say that in anyone's language, that is an enormous amount of discount that the group have been able to give back to consumers.
We're back at stage 6 load shedding. How are you thinking about spending on the renewable energy side? How are you viewing that space right now?
We're currently at 5.5% is our target, was our target for the year. We are limited, of course, in terms of how much we can invest in renewable energy because we don't own a lot of the stores where we trade from. So we are a tenant in those stores, and it would be the landlords that would do that investment. But where we own the property and the structure could take the weight of the sun panels we have, or solar panels, we have installed it. In the Western Cape, there was a limit of how much you can actually install on a particular area, and that limit has been lifted now. So we've expanded to the maximum we can in the Western Cape at present.
Pieter, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. That is the CEO of Shoprite, Pieter Engelbrecht, talking to us about the company's full year numbers. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have more of your news.